Welcome back everyone to Angela's Craft Room. Today I'm going to do a tutorial using the Swallowtail stamp set. This stamp is quite a large one, but there are several techniques you can use on making your cards with it. Now this is going to be my stamp for this month, so like last month we did flowering flourishes and we made 3 different cards with that stamp set. So that's what we're going to do with the Swallowtail this month. We're going to make 3 different cards using this same stamp set. So I'm going to do it a little bit differently this month. What I'm going to do is it's going to be 3 tutorials so that I'm making each card in that tutorial so that you can go away and have a go at making it if you'd like. Whereas last month I just made 1 card and then I just showed you 2 other cards and explained how I did it, and I think it's a lot easier if I do the 3 tutorials and then you can have a go at doing it yourself. So to get started with this first card I'm going to make using the Swallowtail stamp set is called Triple Time. So what we're going to need a base card which is in Blackberry Bliss. Now don't worry about the measurements, I will put them at the bottom in the comments. Then we're going to need a piece of Very Vanilla at 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then corresponding cardstock, in this case Blackberry Bliss, which measures 4 1/2 by 3 1/4. Then a piece of Very Vanilla, which is 3 inches by 4 1/4, and then another Blackberry Bliss 3 1/2 by 2 1/4, and the very last Very Vanilla is 3 1/4 by 2 inches. So to start with, we can get rid of the Blackberry Bliss. We just want the 3 pieces of Very Vanilla. Now I have to tack these on to each other using a bit of snail, but we want to be able to lift it off once we've stamped it, so we don't want to put too much on. So I just eyeball it just to see where I can put that, and then just the top piece. Just try and center it as much as you can. So that's what we're going to be working on. So I bring in the Swallowtail. Now I have been inking it up today, so I haven't cleaned it off because it's really inky. So I'm going to be using Early Espresso, Perfect Plum, Rose Red and Marina Mist. So I take a dauber with my Early Espresso and I just start daubing. Now don't be too worried about the colour because every butterfly you do is going to be the same. So I'm just doing his main body and just a little bit out to the wings with the Early Espresso. And I did ink up all these ink pads before I started so that they'd be really inky for this technique. So now I'm using Perfect Plum, and don't worry if you go into a bit of the brown area that you've already stamped, it doesn't matter. You just got to try and stamp the whole image really, really well for this technique because we're layering it on top. So I'm trying to put a real lot of ink on this. And I'm not really worried that both sides are going to be exactly the same. Alright, so that's your Perfect Plum. Now I'm picking up my Rose Red. I just love this technique because you just never know how your butterfly is going to turn out. Now I did have a bit of a mishap with one before where I didn't ink it enough up in that corner and it just didn't work once I stamped it, so I'm going to have to make sure that I ink up really well in those corners. And you don't have to use as many colours as I've used. You know, if you want to, you can just do a black and white butterfly. I think black and white would look lovely. Just depending what colours you've got. Then my last colour is Marina Mist. So I'm using a different dauber for each colour, of course. So I need to get right up in that corner, so when I stamp it down. And the trick with this stamp is that when you're stamping with the 3 layers, you have to really give a good even stamp down to make sure that you're going to get it all on the cardstock, because you've got the 3 layers to try and put the impression down. And if you're doing a few of these cards, I don't even clean in between the cards. I just want to get right up in that corner, because that's where I made my mishap before. I didn't get enough ink. So I find with this technique, I can't emphasize, your stamp pads must be really juicy. So that's that. Now we're going to hope my fingers aren't too inky. We're going to bring in, I'm going to stand up, going to bring that in, line it up, and I might just put it on a bit of a angle. You can go straight, it's up to you. I'm just going to go on a bit of an angle, and I want to be covering all 3 layers. So down it goes. Now just make sure you get those corners really punched down. Because this is what happened to me last time, and I didn't, in one corner, it just didn't transfer the ink completely. So fingers crossed, and that is perfect. Oh, and I think the key is to have your ink pads really inked up. Now the tricky part is now, and I think it's better, the last one I made a bit of a mishap with, I stamped it straight down. I think because the stamp's so big, you're better off to have it on a bit of an angle. So I'll just take that off. Now this is the trick. Got to try and peel this off without tearing it. That's one. But then it's got to be strong enough to hold it so it doesn't move. So we've got our 3 off. So now I'm bringing in a piece of Blackberry Bliss measured at 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4.25. Okay, now I'm going to have my card coming this way. So first piece is my big piece. So I'm just going to use some snail on all 4 sides. And a little bit in the middle for good measure. Now just line that up on the grid paper. And we want to try our best to center this, looking at both sides and the top and bottom all at once. But as long as you've got it straight, that's the main thing. So that's like that. Then we bring in our next piece of Blackberry Bliss, and we're going to have that sitting on top. So you can see where we're going, and of course I've run out of snail. I knew that would happen, so I had a refill ready to go. There we go. Never fails when you're doing a tutorial. So then we're going to line that up so that is about there. So that's like that. Then we're going to bring in the next. Alright, so we just need to put a bit of snail on there, and on there, in the middle. Just check that I haven't got any adhesive there sitting on my grid paper. Then we're going to add that to there. Then just line it up. Just when I say line it up, just where the wings are, you can sort of see where they are separated by the corresponding cardstock. But I'm watching the top wings. Just bring it down a bit. So you can see how that carries on just there and there. So then we need our next piece of Blackberry Bliss. Oh, I just love this stamp. I just love it so much. I really hope that they're not going to retire this stamp at the end of May. Just remember, our new annual catalogue starts on the 1st of July this year, 2016. Just so excited, can't wait to see what new stamps they're going to be bringing out. It's just so exciting. So we're going to put that one in just so it covers the blank spaces, but you're trying to center it at the same time. So that's like that. Now when I put this one down, I need to try and line up his little antennas. There will be the corresponding cardstock separation, but you can see it just carries on like that. So we'll just I think people get scared with this stamp because it's so big, but oh, there's just so, now I can't turn it over, that's got terrible, all my notes and things, looks a mess. Just don't want to get it on the glue. So now I'm just going to line up this top layer, and I'm contemplating whether I really want a sentiment on this or not. So that's the triple time card. Isn't it just lovely? I just love it. And just the colours are so vibrant. Now just with my Wink of Stella pen, I'm just going to go over his body and his head a little bit and just out. I just love this Wink of Stella pen. It's just so much easier than the glitter, the bottles of glitter. I just find it's so much easier. So just the main parts of the colour, of the stamped colour, each different colour, I'm just putting a little bit, and I do mean a little bit, just on those colours. Because you don't want it on your very vanilla. You just want it on the actual colours. And you might not want to do the Wink of Stella thing on yours. It's a personal thing. But I'm just trying to give you some ideals of how you can use the different products we're stamping up. We've got some absolutely lovely products. Now just remember, at the end of May, or the ink colours are going to be going. The 2014 to 2016 ink colours are going. So if you need some refills for your stamp pads, make sure you get them, because at the end of May you won't be able to get them any longer. And I know we all have our favourite colours. Blackberry Bliss is mine. So that's like that. And I could put that in. I just don't know whether I want to put it there or not. Put that. Just have a look. Yeah, I think I'll put him in there. It's always nice to have a little sentiment. He's just touching. I've just got it touching. So for that, I used the 2" by 1 3" oval punch and the scallop punch. It's always good to have a couple of punches that you can layer with your sentiments. And then I've just put a couple of jewels, rhinestones on the side. So I hope you like this triple stamp technique that I've used today, and I hope you'll give it a try. And thank you for spending a few minutes of your day with me, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial. Thank you.